And in verse 12 we read, dear friends, that Jesus immediately, in verse 12, chapter 1 of Mark, immediately the Spirit brought him out into the wilderness. And he was in the wilderness for 40 days, being tempted by Satan. And he was with wild animals, and angels were serving him. Dear friends, the problem is that we often think in materialistic and scientific ways. We often think that the material world is the whole world. That's it. And we don't go beyond our materialistic worldview because we are so encased in this worldview of materialism that we don't even consider that there is a spiritual world, a transcendent world, a spiritual world above us, which is also real as the material world. The Bible is a spiritual book, and we have to cultivate spiritual senses developed by the Holy Spirit so that we can understand this book. And we see that Jesus Christ was immediately brought by the Spirit into the wilderness because, as I said in the previous video, dear friends, the Holy Spirit came upon Jesus to empower him for ministry, to empower him, and because he was open for the Holy Spirit, because he came upon him like a dove, then he immediately was led by the Spirit in the wilderness. And the Spirit of God, if we have received him, is able to test us also, to bring us into a place, into the wilderness where we don't feel comfortable, but he is polishing us because the Holy Spirit is our great comforter, and he works the plan, the will of the Father, and he instills upon us the character of the Son. He instills upon us the imago Christi, the image of Christ in us, so that we will become a son or daughter fully in accordance with God's will. So the Spirit of God can bring you, dear friends, dear brother or sister, into the wilderness, and don't be stunned when he does that, because he can do it, and it doesn't feel also always comfortable to be in contact with the Holy Spirit. Yes, we will measure, we will have a measure of joy in our lives. We have power, but we also can feel a little bit dry, and he can bring us into the wilderness, and it does not feel always comfortable. But the purpose is that we receive a new measure of our character development, so that we will become more like Christ, while retaining our unique person in ourselves. He will not erase who you are, dear friends. You are a unique person, made in the image of God, made by God, and he wants that this unique you will be completely developed, will completely come out, will burst out. And therefore you need the Holy Spirit. You and I need this Holy Spirit, that he will bring us into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And that's the great paradox, because we have to resist the devil in the wilderness, and he will bring us to be tempted by the devil, but we have also the responsibility to resist the devil in the wilderness. But by resisting him, we will develop more strength, more power, more power in our character by the Holy Spirit, so that we will be more and more stronger in our character, and more resilience, and more like Christ, so that we can live our lives as a consolidated person here on earth. Therefore, dear friends, don't despise the working of the Holy Spirit, even if he brings you into a dry land where you can be tempted by demons, by the Satan. There, in that place, you have to resist him. You resist him, says the James, the epistle of James, resist him, resist the devil, he will flee from you. So it is important that you will resist the devil when you are brought by the Spirit in the front of him. And by doing this, you and I will cultivate more and more this character of Christ. We'll be more and more like him on earth, so that we are more and more on a solid ground. When the temptations will come more and more, and we become more fervent, the temptations, then we can withhold this enemy, the arrows of the enemy in our lives.